I would love to get to 30 fights, and I'm not too far away. But then I could get to 30 fights, and I might want to get to 35. I don't know, like, you know.
Always push.
Yeah. Like, you know, there's no, for me, titles aren't everything.
Yeah.
For me, it's really about like the quality of people I fight. Like, I'd prefer to fight like, you know, a Thai girl who's amazing, one of the best in the world, than fight someone else for a title.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to Fighters of Perth, the show where we aim to get to know our fighters here in Perth a little bit better, their story and their journey, and hopefully make a new friend along the way. My guest with me today is Dani Rushton. Dani, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Is an absolute pleasure. And Dani, so I just want to get the show going. First up, tell us about, you know, how many fights you've had, any states, any titles, any belts or anything like that, and which gym you represent.
Yep, so I have had 27 fights. I hold the WBC light flyweight state title. I think that's it. Yeah. And I represent Riddler's gym.
Very, very nice. We've had a few of the guys from Riddlers here. So obviously a gym well known for producing a lot of champions. So obviously another one, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Thank you.
So the idea for today is I want to start off, you know, getting people to know you, know a little bit about you, and then I'd like to talk about your time in Thailand, which you've recently had.
Yep.
So just, tell us about how you got started in Muay Thai, like how did you find out about it, you know, like, and then just catch us up to kind of how you got to where you are now.
Yep. Okay, cool. So I started probably about 8.5 years ago, and I was like pretty overweight and unfit. I was like mid-20s. Was not athletic by any means, bit of a party girl. And I started doing like my kickboxing for fitness next to Riddlers, just for fitness classes and like stuff like that. And I'd been doing it for a few months. And a lady who taught there, she was like, I think you'd really like Muay Thai. I do Muay Thai at Riddlers. You should check it out. And I was like, oh, maybe. And then I like Googled it and I was like, oh, maybe I should try it. Maybe I should. I was like really scared. Yeah. And then I think like 6 months later, I bit the bullet and I went in my first beginner's class. And it was really weird. As soon as I did it, I knew that I wanted to fight.
You knew from day one you wanted to fight?
Day one, first day I hit pads.
Wow, okay.
I knew. I was a beginner and I was like terrible.
Yeah.
And I knew straight away. Then like it was like it was missing my whole life. It was really weird. And then so I worked really, really hard for about the next year. And I moved up from beginners to intermediates, and then maybe a year and a bit after intermediates to fighters. And then maybe like it was about a year and a half since I started, I had my first fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just on that, so 2 questions. The first one is, why do you think it took 6 months to was it like building up the courage, 6 months, 6 months of like considering it before you actually started? And then how do you, you said you knew from day one, like you wanted to compete. Like, how do you think you knew that? Like, what was about it that you're like, yeah, I want to jump the ring, I want to do that? You didn't even attend a fight show, you just did a class and you're like, I want to actually compete.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess there's a bit of 2 questions, so answer it any order you like. I don't mind.
So the reason it took me so long to do it, I think I was just like scared. I was like, oh, there's a lot of boys there, mostly guys. That obviously Kaylee was like the poster girl, well, like, you know, a big champion from Riddlers, and she was a female. So I looked at their website and I was like, oh, like there's that girl there, and like, you know, there's this girl who does Muay Thai, but then like predominantly it's men. And I was just like a bit nervous about it, I think. I don't know, like being in such a male-dominated area. And then, my first class, and then there was another girl actually there who, it was her first class as well, and we got partnered up together. And that was really cool because it's her first class as well, and we became great friends. And then I think, you know what, as soon as I felt I hit pads, like, I don't know, like I was like, wow, this is cool. And I just guess I felt like, I don't know, like I felt like confident hitting, I don't know, it made me feel like I got more confidence. And then I was like, wow, like I'd never really been very athletic, but I'd always kind of got like quite a drive. Like, I don't know, I just felt like something was missing. And I was like, maybe I can like fight, maybe I can do this. And then I was like really determined to like work my way through the ranks and kind of see where I could go with it.
That's pretty cool. And so never before that time you'd ever considered competing in a combat sport, or were you a big fan of combat sports? You didn't watch them?
I didn't know anything about Muay Thai or MMA, or like I knew like obviously MMA was I don't think I even knew what Muay Thai was, to be honest. I had to Google what Muay Thai was. I had no clue.
Do you think, I mean, I don't know how it happened, but when you heard that next door they did Muay Thai, did you, because I've heard people doing this where they're like, oh, I want to do Muay Thai, and then they'll look up Muay Thai fights and they'll see how, I guess, intense and how violent it is, and they think, oh, I'm going to be doing that from day one. It's going to be like that. Did that slow you down to get started at any point? Like, did that intimidate you?
I don't think so. I don't think I even Googled fights. I think I just like Googled the gym.
Right, okay.
And then like just saw the profile, and I really still didn't know what Muay Thai was. Like I didn't know there was like, I don't know, I kind of thought it was boxing, to be honest with you. And then I was like, oh, they kick, that's cool. Yeah. And then like at the kickboxing for fitness, which is just like fitness classes, right? You know, like you kick the bag and like hit the bag, and it felt good. And I was like, I'm just going to try it. And then like, yeah. And then that's what happened. And then, yeah, I just like really wanted to see how far I could take it. I never thought I'd be where I was, to be honest. I thought maybe I'd have like 1 or 2 fights, and
that was it, yeah.
You know, yeah, I thought that was going to be it. And I like, even when I got to fighters, I was like, wow, like, you know, this is cool. It's like pretty inspiring to be around. I don't know, because like all those people, level, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It just kind of like, I don't know. I felt like a lot of confidence and purpose.
Okay.
I think doing Muay Thai and like, you know, working my way up and then competing and stuff like that.
Having a focus and like I said, a goal, something you can go towards and commit yourself to.
Yeah.
That's cool. So with those 2 fights, so you had, like you said, you thought maybe you're going to have 1 or 2 fights. So you probably, you know, you had your first fight, and then what do you think it was about fighting that's made you say, I want to do more? Like, I want more of this. I want to keep competing. I want to see how far I can take it. Because some people, they just want to challenge themselves and be like, cool, yeah, I can use my skills, put myself to the test. And then once you've done that, okay, cool, you've proven yourself, you know, what do you think it was that's, I guess, the allure or the thing that made you want to keep getting in the ring? Like, what do you think that was?
I think it was like, at the time that I was in fighters and like the very start of my career, I had quite a lot of females around me competing. I had Nicola Calendar, I had Alicia Pastana, like all those big female names. Like when I started, they were like, I guess like there and inspiring me. And there was like, we had quite a big girl gang, and just having their encouragement. I don't know. And I just like, there wasn't that many females in the sport really back, like when I started, there wasn't as many as there is now. And like, I don't know, I just felt good when I fought. Like, and every time I fought or every time I trained, and I, you know, some days you like feel like you have not improved at all, or some fights, but like the fights, all the times I did train and fight and I improved, I don't know, it felt really good. I don't know whether it was also the adrenaline.
everything with it. It's a very hard, but there's just so many emotions and the adrenaline and everything. It can be quite. It can be an addictive,
an addictive sport.
In its own way, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was what it was about. And it wasn't like, maybe till like, even now sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't believe I've had 27 fights. It feels like I just had my first fight yesterday sometimes, to be honest. So yeah, I think I just wanted to see how far I could take it, and then I'd take it to that next step, and I'd be like, oh, actually, I want to do more though. And I'd want to keep getting better and improving and stuff like that as well. Right. Yeah.
So 26 or 27 fights, right?
Yeah.
When did you start?
My first fight, when did I start Muay Thai?
Oh yeah, I guess when did you start Muay Thai and when did you have your first fight?
So I started Muay Thai May 2016. So I think that's about 8.5 years ago as a beginner. Yeah. And then I had my first fight November 2017. So November will be 7 years since my first fight. Right,
like 26 fights in 7 years is still quite a lot of fights. Yeah. So do you just have a fight and then Daz just books you another one straight away, or do you take some time? Like, how do you have so many fights in that short period?
I pretty much just nag Daz.
I want another one.
And there's like, so my weight division is quite limited, especially in Australia now. Especially the more fights you have, you obviously have a limit. Like when you're an amateur, there's a few more girls in the go. But like, you know, when you get more experienced and you're at a weight class that's not very popular here, it does get a lot harder. I've gone to Thailand a few times, fought probably out of the 27 times, I've fought 9 times in Thailand.
Over East a lot? Is that how you guys like get the fights?
Yeah, so I fought in Melbourne, I fought in Queensland a couple of times. I fought maybe 3 or 4 times. Oh no, maybe more than that. Sorry, probably 5 or 6 times over East. That's how we got fights. But for a long time, I was fighting up in experience or weight. Just to fight, just because I wanted to. Daz was like, I don't know if you should be fighting at that weight or someone that experienced. And I was like, just let me do it.
You just want to fight, yeah.
I just wanted to fight. That's all. I didn't even care like if I won or lost. I just wanted to fight because, you know, I started at 25, which is like not young in sports, in combat sports. So I just wanted to see like how much I could do. Yeah.
In that time. Did you feel like you kind of had not pressure, but like, oh, I've got this window that's closing. I want to try and get as many fights as I can.
I definitely felt like I have an athletic. Maybe it's a bit females. It's different. Like if you want to have kids and stuff, obviously, but you know, females' athletic peak can be a little bit more than men.
Okay.
Like we kind of peak in our 30s anyway.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we do. So I was like, oh, but I was also like, you know, I've got other things I want to do in my life as well. So yeah, I was like, I just want to see how many I can bang out before I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, well, so let's talk about, I guess, your not Thailand, because I know you had fights in Thailand, but am I right in saying your most recent fight in Perth, that was the one where you won the state title?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so tell us about that whole experience, training for the fight itself. Did you have to come across any like challenges during that time that you had to overcome? Yeah, just give us the whole story there.
I did. So I hadn't fought in Perth in a long time, to be honest. I can't remember the last time. Oh, no, I'd fought in Perth that year, but before that I hadn't fought in Perth in ages. It was a bit of a challenging camp, to be honest. I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life at the time. And, like, you know, when you're fighting, like, the rest of your life doesn't stop. You know, there's all that. So, like, I probably wasn't in the best mental space, like, from things in my personal life. And, like, there are a few tears in training and stuff like that. And I knew... So Amanda had asked to fight me quite a few times, and I'd said no because she hadn't had too many fights, and I felt like I just wanted her to have a few pro fights before, do you know, like the experience different. I just felt like I didn't want to take a backward step kind of thing, and then
I understand that.
Yeah, so I felt like I'd been fighting really high level, and I wanted her to have some more fights. So like, you know, I wasn't taking too much as a backward step, and then I was like, yeah, I'm happy to fight her, and I knew it was going to be like a real grueling fight because she's very high pace, and you know she's very, very high pace. So it was hard training camp physically as well because I had to be very fit for that one. And yeah, it was kind of hard to game plan as well because her style's pretty unorthodox.
What's unorthodox about her style? Actually, I've seen her on posters, but I've actually never seen her
I've never seen her fight. So like, you know Nathan Embleton?
Yeah.
I feel like she's the female version of Nathan.
Right. No, okay.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which was for me, I was like, oh God. Because I'm very Thai style, Muay Thai, so like I like, you know.
What kind of fight? More like beautiful Muay Thai.
I love beautiful Muay Thai. And then
shot for shot, counter, the chess match.
Yeah, the chess match. And then I was like, and then like literally first round, she was like, I knew she was going to be running at me, and I was like, oh God.
So what was the game plan going? You knew she fought like that, so what was the game plan going into that?
I knew the game plan was like just keep moving, angle, clinch up, because I think we thought I'd probably be a bit stronger in the clinch just with the experience difference.
Did you feel like that was the case?
Yeah,
okay.
I did. I didn't think it was going to be because she actually was quite a bit bigger than me, like taller than me, and probably a little bit more physically more solid than I was. And the first round, I definitely lost the first round. I was like, whoa, because there was a lot coming at me, and I guess I expected it, but I didn't really expect it.
Like, until you're there, you don't really know what it's
Yeah,
like.
it was like, and I think like, she just like, I was like, whoa. And then the second round, I was like, oh, okay, no, like I've really got to do something here.
Did you just have to make a switch in the moment?
I had to switch. Like my corner were really good. They were like, just move and kick. Just move and kick. So you need to do clinch up. If she gets too close, move and kick. And then that's all I did pretty much the rest of the fight. Moved and kicked, clinch, swept when I could.
Was this the one, sorry, I'm interrupting you, but you made, in one of your posts, you said you didn't feel like it was your best performance, but it was enough to get the win. Is this the one?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I just feel, and maybe I feel like it wasn't, like her style style for me was hard to handle. So like she has a unorthodox style, and I was like, whoa, like, you know, and I just felt like she was very different to other opponents I fought. I didn't think it was my best performance, for sure.
I mean, that could just be because, like I said, because of her style, it doesn't really allow your style to shine because you kind of have to fight in a different way just to deal with that pressure fighting.
Yeah. So I had to, I think I just had to adapt to do it. But for me, like, I was like, oh, I don't feel like it's my most beautiful Muay Thai. But that's okay.
You don't really have a choice.
Yeah, I was like, I had to do what I had to do. But it was a really good challenging fight. Yeah.
And then obviously you got the belt, and that must have been pretty exciting.
That was pretty exciting. I had fought maybe the year before for the Australian title against Lucy Deadman.
Right.
in Queensland, and I lost that one. It was a good fight. It was actually a really good fight. I lost by split decision, but she probably did just edge it over me. And so I lost the Aussie title, and then I was like, well, it kind of makes sense to go back and fight for a state title, work my way up again. So it was nice to win a title.
Right.
Yeah, especially after so many fights.
Finally getting the opportunity.
Like, again, in the smaller weight division, you don't really get as many opportunities as maybe people in the more popular weight divisions as well. Like you other girls or guys who are in those popular weight divisions might be able to go for a state title at 9 fights or 10, like 7 fights and things like that. But when you're in a small weight division, sometimes you are waiting 20 fights to get those opportunities.
See, I always thought it would be the opposite. If there's like less people because there's less competition, you get the opportunity sooner, but that's not the case.
Not always the case, no. Well, it wasn't for me anyway, and because there wasn't many opponents in Australia for me. Do you know what I mean? Like if you've got the 1 or 2 opponents and you can like state Australia, you know, you can get from like an Australian to a world level, I think a bit easier because you don't have as many people in the way in the world. But yeah, I think for me it was a little bit harder anyway.
Right.
And people just didn't really stick around. Like, you know, people come and go from Muay Thai, people fight, then they stop, and then sometimes you literally have no opponents.
Right, for a while.
Yeah.
That must suck, especially if you're on like on a mission, like I want to get to a
I'm like,
point.
come on, guys.
You're waiting for the whole division to kind of like get their act together.
Yeah.
That must suck to like not have control of that.
Yeah.
There was something you mentioned. Oh yeah, so you said you fought for the Australian title before that. Did you, because sometimes, I mean, I'm not always sure how it works. Sometimes it can be different depending on the organisation. But did you not need to have a state title prior to fight for that Australian title?
No, that was for the WBC as well. And again, so me and Lucy got the opportunity for that because, so that was like the weight division under what I fought Amanda in, which I can fight in both divisions. That was mini flyweight. And the reason we got an opportunity at that because there was, at the time, not really anyone else in Australia to fight for
No one in the
it.
division. So
no one in the division, straight to the, like, she had the Queensland state title, but I don't think she had anyone to even, like, contest it or, like, fight for it. So we both got the opportunity to kind of go straight for the Australian because there's no one in, really in the division or many girls in the division.
And that was the WBC one because I thought they were really strict, but I guess if, like, the situation is there's no one else.
Yeah. What are you meant to do if there's no one else? Like, like, and we're both from different states. So... and she did have the Queensland state title as well. So, and like, I think the WBC, like, they look at like your record and who you fought and they watch your fights and stuff like that. And like, you know, they obviously then decide if it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you've achieved the W8's WBC title. You mentioned earlier that there was, you know, there's some other things you want to achieve in your life as well, which I want to hear about. So before you move on from Muay Thai, I'm not saying, you know, it's a rush or, you know, you might still have another few years or however many years you want. What are some things that you've kind of told yourself, I need to achieve this before I'm happy to kind of lay down the gloves, so to speak?
There's a few things, but to be honest, I don't know if there'll ever be a time where I'm actually happy that do you know what I mean? I feel like it could go on forever, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, you just have to make peace with where you're at in the sport and where you decide to finish. I think the things, I just want to keep fighting the best girls in the world, in the division. I'm really big on, like, for me, like, encouraging other females to get in the sport.
Yeah,
and like trying to inspire other people to get in the sport, even if it's not to fight. And just like for females, I think, as I said, it's really good for confidence and like, just feeling good about yourself. So that's really important to me. Like, I guess trying to inspire other females, help other fighters, and just, fight the best. And that's it. That's really it. Like, I don't really have any
like a set number of fights or any specific titles or opportunities like fighting in 1FC or anything like that. Obviously, all those would be great, but you didn't have a kind of like a list of things that you wanted to kind of tick off before you were done.
I would love to get to 30 fights, and I'm not too far away. But then I could get to 30 fights, and I might want to get to 35. I don't know, like, you know,
always push.
Yeah. Like, you know, there's no. For me, titles aren't everything.
Yeah.
For me, it's really about like the quality of people I fight. Like, I'd prefer to fight like, you know, a Thai girl who's amazing, one of the best in the world, than fight someone else for a title.
Yeah.
For me, that's just like really important, and having like good hard fights, because I think that fighters don't grow from easy fights or comfortable fights. I think fighters grow from hard fights, and I think people grow from hard fights as well. So that's really important to me more than anything, and just inspiring that next generation, I guess, as well.
That makes sense. Is that you mentioned like earlier in your kind of like when you're talking about how you got started, that there weren't many females at the time, and you're talking about now about how you want to kind of inspire other women to get in the sport. Is that something that as well that motivated you to fight, is to just like kind of you felt like there was a lack, or there was like, hey, we need more females competing? Was that another reason?
I think
to wanted to compete, just to I guess, not that there wasn't people already putting it out there, but just to be one more voice out there, one more person out there representing female Muay Thai? I
think so. I think that's like, it's something I'm very passionate about, like female Muay Thai, and like, that's definitely was probably a driver for me as well, to like keep going, keep competing. And like now, like, there's so many girls coming up. There's so many small girls coming up in like my division now, which is awesome. Like, they're having their first fight.
Yeah, thank you. Now it's a little bit late, but
that's okay. But it's so cool for me to see that, like, when I first started, there was barely anyone in that weight division. Now it's growing, and even there's bigger girls, like bigger weight divisions that like weren't really around before, and now they are. It's cool to see. And like, even if females don't fight, I feel like seeing their confidence grow from training, or just like getting better at Muay Thai, or having something to improve in, is like really, really cool to see. So that definitely drives me a bit.
I think that's beautiful. I really like that. I really like that, and I agree. It'd be cool because as obviously someone who's been in the sport, but as a coach as well, seeing the impact it does, like you said, the confidence for just the people who just do it a few times a week, it's amazing. And it's like you want everyone to have that, but you can talk about it forever, and you can't make people want to do it. So it's like, how do you just get people just to try it? I mean, you were lucky, you were already kind of doing that kickboxing class, that fitness kickboxing. For you, it was just simply, it's right next door. It's like, how can we influence people, or like I said, younger women to be willing to do it and not think, I'm just going to get hurt, I'm not going to get bashed. Do you have any solutions there? Do you have any ideas of like how we can promote Muay Thai to females a bit better?
It's a hard one, and it's a question I ask myself a lot. Like right now, like it's obviously like all my friends, I'm like, you should do Muay Thai. And like females I just like meet randomly through work or whatever, through social settings, I obviously tell them. But like there's a lot of like females, even in beginners and stuff, right? Like beginners or intermediates, like that's kind of like, I guess, my focus at the moment. The ones who are like, I'm too scared to go do a sparring day, or oh my God, a sparring day. Like, you know what I mean? It's a big thing for them, right? Like I get it. It's scary. But like encouraging them just to give it a go, and like that you're going to be okay and you're going to feel great after, just like, and just encourage them. Like, I think it's just about making them feel good and encouraging them and making them feel confident and powerful. Helping them improve on techniques and like building that. And then they tell their friends. That's a big thing. Like you get like a female in beginners and they really like it. They go and tell their friends. Their friends come and try it. Their friends like it. They, so on and so forth. So I think just like kind of nurturing them, the ones that you do have, the females that are like starting out and stuff, nurturing them.
Make sure they're having good experience so they talk to their friends.
Yeah. And I think that's how it goes. And then just like, one of their friends might be like, oh, there's a female fighter at the gym, you should check her Instagram out and stuff. And then that, I don't know, I feel like it kind of inspires females. Definitely. And like they're like, oh, maybe I'll give it a go. Yeah.
There you go. So that's one thing you can do. Like say, like I like that they're doing more like those kind of women's only sparring days. And it's just like, just makes environments that are a little bit more comfortable for those who might feel, I guess, a little bit intimidated or just a good environment. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think kind of nurturing that. Because it is scary for some, like not everyone wants to be hit in the face. Like, I just feel like women, like it's a little bit different. So it is something that like needs to be a bit nurtured and stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Changing gears now, because I just realised we don't have much time left because obviously we took forever to set up.
That's okay.
I wanted to quickly, well, I didn't want to quickly do it, but now we could kind of go quickly. I want to talk about your time in Thailand. Obviously, you're there, you said 10 months.
Yeah.
10 months in Thailand. Just give us like a synopsis of the whole experience. Did you have many fights there? The training. I also wanted to, just start with that and then I'll ask the questions so I don't dump them all on you at once.
Sure. 10 months was a crazy time.
Yeah.
Had 6 fights over there, got sick. Me and my partner, he's also a fighter. We both got sick quite a few times. just lots of different things, Thailand bugs.
Drinking the water.
Try not to drink the water. So had 6 fights, which was good. Towards the end, had some injuries and like health issues, and I kind of had to stop fighting for a bit. So I've taken a bit of a break now. And then training was hectic, like just hard, just so hard. Like every day just being literally bashed by, like you think you're like, oh, I'm okay at Muay Thai. And then you go to Thailand, you're with the Thais and you're like, yeah, I'm not that great.
Not that good.
You're really humbling. Yeah, puts in perspective. So I had some really good trainers in Thailand, and training was just hard. Like just, different to here. Like maybe not the smartest training sometimes.
Like, very old school, old style.
Yeah.
Which you could talk about but
forever. Yeah. So hard training, but I definitely have noticed since I've been back that I've improved. So that's good. Because you don't really notice the improvement there because you're just still getting bashed by Thais every day. And then you come back and you go with people you went with before, or like, you're like, or like people similar level to you, and you're like, oh, they've improved as well. But you're like, oh, actually,
you can actually see, because it's like you've gone away and you come back now, there's that contrast.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to see that. And it's good because sometimes you're there and you're like, am I improving?
What do you feel like was the biggest improvement you made from being in Thailand?
My clinch.
You're going to have to be clinching every night.
Every night for a long time. My clinch. Like I feel like I've always had like okay clinch, but then I came back and I was like, I feel really strong. Like I don't know. I just way better. Like arm control, all that kind of stuff, heaps better. Yeah. And just timing probably. Like, just my timing in like striking and stuff.
Well, what do you think you were doing there that was different that hasn't actually improved your timing?
I don't even know.
Just the hours? You think just the hours of sparring?
Just the hours and like the people, like, you're training with Thais who have had 500 fights. They're teaching you all different styles, Muay Khao, Muay Thima, Muay Mat, and they're like drilling the same things over and over and again, or like you're sparring them, so you're kind of like reacting to their timing as well. And it's like a lot, like sparring's like more sabai, like just playing.
And that's probably like that style that you like as well, so
I love that.
You enjoyed that.
But you also, I feel like for me, I learn better if we're doing that, like slower sparring, because you can think more, react more, get your timing right instead of like hard sparring all the time or like, so I feel like that just practicing and having that slower sparring and that sabai fun sparring, I guess really helped for me. Yeah, I think.
And that was, and what would you say was the biggest difference in the way you trained there versus the way you trained here?
A lot more running. A lot more running, the volume, because you're training morning and night 6 days a week. The gym I was at, we sparred twice a day, every day.
Wow, that's for Thailand. That's quite, because usually because they're fighting so often, they're not sparring as much.
But like as I said, playful sparring every day, twice a day. So that's really different. Yeah, clinching for a longer period of time. Sometimes we'd only clinch at night. Sometimes we clinch both times. And then obviously you got a Thai trainer holding pads for you. 4 rounds. We did 4 4-minute rounds twice a day.
Wow.
It's a lot of pad work.
That's a lot of pad work.
It's a lot of pad work to learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I like the fact that doing all that light sparring and that clinching every night. I think when you're getting the hours and the volume of that, like you're bound to improve.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. As I said, you just don't notice it when you're there. Like you just literally can't notice it. I was like, am I even getting any better?
Especially like if everyone's at that top level, you're not going to notice yourself compared to
them.
you
don't. And especially like the Thais are like, a lot of them are still bigger than me and they're men and stuff. Like, and I'm sparring Thai men, so like they're still better than me, stronger than me, all that kind of stuff as well. So then coming back and like sparring girls who are like a little bit bigger, like similar level or similar size, like it's interesting. Yeah.
We're gonna have to do a part 2.
Okay.
All right. We'll set that up after, but thank you so much for coming on. This has been actually really, really fun.
Yeah.
Let's set up part 2, and then, so much more I want to ask you about Thailand and just a few other things which you've mentioned. I'd like to go deeper into that. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.